fundamental question. And we've been talking about this in different forums and different contexts over the past couple of days. But here's the reality, Peter. Football teams every year engage in a broad, comprehensive look at the roster, and they decide where they can upgrade, where they should upgrade, where they have an opportunity to upgrade. Do the 49ers, given that contract structure that gives them until April 1 to make a decision about Jimmy Garoppolo, do they owe it to the organization to at least engage in the analysis as to whether or not there is a potential upgrade out there over Jimmy Garoppolo? Dispassionate, objective, name off the back of the jersey, forget what you've paid him, look at the situation, look at the options. Should they engage in that exercise?
Should they? Maybe. Will they? I think almost absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. Because, last year when Jimmy Garoppolo was hurt, Kyle Shanahan asked his dad, Mike Shanahan, the two-time Super Bowl winning coach and quarterback whisperer, hey, would you come to Santa Clara and would you basically teach our offense to Jimmy Garoppolo from the ground up? Now he's got 8 or 9 weeks of nothing other than rehab. I want him to learn everything about this offense from the ground up. And Mike Shanahan came. He worked with him 4 or 5 days a week, 5 hours a day, and he gave him homework. He said, you got to go home and do this. So at the end of that period, the 49ers had a guy who thought exactly like Kyle Shanahan and who knew the offense exactly like Kyle Shanahan. Maybe not, every little detour on the road, but he knew everything about this offense now. And this was his first year, his first full season in the NFL. He went to New Orleans and put up 48 points. He had some blips on his radar. The Super Bowl, he had some blips.
Yep.
The home game against Seattle on Monday night, an inglorious game by Garoppolo. But he had enough positive things that happened this year that I firmly believe that the 49ers are all in on Garoppolo and will not look elsewhere.
Yeah, I'm with you too, Peter. Mike, to what you're saying, I do think Kyle will get into the analysis of upgrading everybody. I think he's going to evaluate Garoppolo hard, but I think it's also one of those things where, yeah, he'll evaluate it hard, but the analysis is going to have to be totally like a disaster for him to go, okay, maybe we should look about, signing a free agent quarterback or making a move to change a quarterback. And I just don't think we're going to get there. Peter mentioned it, the Saints game, the Seahawks game, week 17. There was a lot of good quality play. The grass isn't always greener. Who are you going to bring in that's necessarily definitely better, right? This was a Super Bowl team. It is his first year as a starter, okay? And we saw when Shanahan was in Atlanta, Matt Ryan exploded his second full year in that offense. So I think this is a team that's still in their Super Bowl window, and I don't know why you would upset that. I know we want to blame Jimmy Garoppolo. I get it. And it's easy to blame him, too, because we saw the guy on the other side of the field make all the big plays when it mattered. Well, hey, just to nobody is that guy. Nobody. Number 15 is the guy. There's just nobody. He has a chance to be the greatest player we've ever seen in football. He has that type of talent. So as I sit here and do this, I think they're fine with Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm more concerned about their defense letting up 21 points in the last 6 minutes of a game when their team was built around defense and 5 first-rounders on their D-line. To me, if we're going to blame anybody, that is what annoys me more about the game than anything else.
Back to Garoppolo, though.
Yes.
I look at it from this perspective. If he was a free agent right now,
yeah,
where would he fit in the hierarchy of the other guys who are going to be available? Like, how attractive would he be if he were free and clear, like a Tom Brady, like a Phillip Rivers, like a Ryan Tannehill, unless Tannehill gets tagged? Where is he on that pecking order of quarterbacks if he is on the market?
Well, Mike, you can't consider him along with, let's say, Brady, Rivers, Breeze. Those guys are Band-Aids.
Right.
Those guys are 1 or 2 year fixes.
Right.
And to me, you have to look at Garoppolo. If you're going to buy Garoppolo, okay, if you're going to buy him, all right, you have to compare him basically probably to Ryan Tannehill and Teddy Bridgewater, right? And maybe even Taysom Hill, because Taysom Hill, I think, is the most fascinating player in free agency, even though he is restricted. And when I look at all these guys, Mike, one thing I say is, give me the advantage of a guy who's going to hit the ground running with a championship-ready defense, although, as Chris said, there was a championship-level defense for 53 minutes.
Right.
And then they were the Cleveland Browns for 7.
Right.
So, I mean, I look at this. I understand what you're saying, Mike, but I think there are so many other things to it than just simply saying, if you plug Tom Brady into this team next year, you have a better chance of winning the Super Bowl than if Jimmy Garoppolo plays. I'm not even sure that's true.
Yeah,
because a 43-year-old quarterback's
right.
a 43-year-old quarterback.
Right. I that's what I would say, too. You're exactly right. Like, Breeze and Brady are good guys. I'm there. But you've heard me, Mike. I mean, they're the middle of the pack right now. And that's not to be, like, disrespectful to legends. I understand that. I understand Brady's the GOAT. He's the man. But like Peter said, he's going to be 43. It's just he's not one of the 5 or 10 best quarterbacks in football anymore. And, to the other question, Mike, you said, like, where would he, stack up in the pecking order? That's a good question. I don't think he's as talented. Dak Prescott, of course, I'm going to take him over Jimmy Garoppolo 100%. I'm probably going to take Ryan Tannehill over him. I think Ryan Tannehill probably has more talent than Jimmy Garoppolo. It's close, but I think I would take Tannehill. And then there comes Jimmy Garoppolo to me in that conversation. And then he would be that next guy in the pecking order. And again, I think the way this team's built and the way Shanahan designs offensive plays and things like that he'll get better, Garoppolo. And I just think that this team is not going anywhere anytime soon because there's just so much young talent, and I don't know if you'd want to upset that right now.
Let me try a different approach.
Yes.
A different idea.
Okay.
Chris.
Yes.
Chris, you've told this story before.
Right.
Kyle Shanahan told it himself last week. Patrick Mahomes. They had the 3rd overall pick in the 2017 draft. They did not take Patrick Mahomes because Shanahan didn't evaluate Patrick Mahomes. And why didn't he evaluate Patrick Mahomes?
Because he thought he was going to get Kirk Cousins. That's right. Yes, he thought for sure he was going to get him. Go ahead.
Okay, so Kirk Cousins knows the offense. Don't need to bring Mike in to teach Kirk Cousins the offense, right?
Right.
Kirk Cousins is under contract with Minnesota for 1 more year.
Yeah.
Now, look, if he doesn't make that throw to Adam Thielen at the end of the playoff win over the Saints, maybe this is a more plausible conversation.
Right.
But the Vikings have him under contract for 1 more year at $29.5 million. We don't know what they'd be willing to do. And he has a no-trade clause. I think he would waive it if he had a chance to go be the quarterback of the 49ers.
I do, too.
Here's the question. Garoppolo's due to make $25.2 million. $15.7 million of it is fully guaranteed as of April 1. And Kirk Cousins is due to make $29.5 million this year, fully guaranteed. If you're John Lynch, do you remember the call he made to Bill Belichick in the 2017 season? Do you make that call to Rick Spielman, the GM of the Vikings, just to see what it would take to get Kirk Cousins?
You know why I wouldn't make the phone call? Let me say why I wouldn't make the phone call. Because it's going to get out.
Yes, it is. It's going to destroy your team in your locker room.
It's going to destroy any confidence that – can you imagine how shattered Jimmy Garoppolo would be if he found out that you were trying to trade for Kirk Cousins? He's already in the back of his mind. He knows this story. In the back of his mind, he already knows that Kyle Shanahan wanted Kirk Cousins.
Right.
Okay. So how do you think he would feel? I mean, that would be a disastrous move. There's no way
I don't assume it gets
I would
out.
ever do that.
I trust Rick Spielman to be discreet.
It's going to get out.
I trust Rick Spielman to be discreet about it. All right.
Yeah. That's getting out right
Peter?
there.
Yeah.
Chris, what's your thought?
Well, I in theory, I know what you're saying, and I think Kirk Cousins is better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I do, yes. But I think that's a very delicate situation, and the point Peter made to me is the point. Maybe you can trust Rick Spielman. It better just be Rick Spielman on the phone. If there's other organizational people involved or anything like that, then it gets scary because somebody does talk, whether they talk to you, Florio, or Adam Schefter or Peter King or whoever, more times than not, those type of rumors seem to get out in the NFL.
But isn't there a way to do it and have plausible deniability? Isn't there a way to have a hypothetical conversation? Isn't there a way to just dip your toe in the water without giving Spielman or anyone else with the Vikings ammunition to whisper to Schefter or someone else that they're talking about possibly trading for Kirk Cousins? I think there's a way to do it if you really want to do it. I guess that's the question.
How do you do
Chris,
it?
you know Kyle better than anybody on this show,
right?
And better than most people in the media,
right?
What is Kyle laying in bed at night over the next couple of weeks thinking, is there a way that I can upgrade from Jimmy G to Kirk C?
Well, I will not deny that I don't think those things are going through his brain. I don't. I think Kyle will toss and exhaust all angles with this. And like we were talking about earlier, I think, the analysis and them, going back and studying Jimmy Garoppolo, they'll do that and they'll do it hard. But I think at the end of the day, Shanahan's going to realize, man, we were close. This guy I know can get better. I know that. And we were up 20-10 with 6.5 minutes left in the Super Bowl. And I think he's going to just, I think his smarts, the realistic reality of the situation, whatever it may be, I think he'll just stay status quo with Jimmy G.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.